I got to switch
All
my
right,
audio.
we are broadcasting live. Hey, everyone, I'm Todd Bookspan, founder of Win by Noon. On behalf of Dave Savage, the CEO of Mortgage Coach, I've got a killer crew here for our Tuesday Mortgage Coach call. I've got Dan Keller, Ryan Grant, Denise Donoghue, three of our keynote speakers for the upcoming Modern Mortgage Summit. And we're going to be talking about how to close out 2020 strong. And super excited if you guys were over 8,800 people signed up today for the Modern Mortgage Summit. I know
Awesome.
We'll throw a link in here. If you guys haven't signed up yet, please do. We'd love to have you there. We've got so many great teachers. It's going to be, I think, probably the biggest producing group for a one-day event. We added it up, Dave and I. We've over 21 of the speakers have closed over $100 million so far this year. And the group as a total has closed over $4.1 billion worth of transactions. Pretty ridiculous. So it's just going to kind of be a free-for-all here with three guests. So we're going to have just a great conversation, really helping you guys out. So I didn't prep these guys for who I was gonna ask first. Does anyone want to volunteer to go first and talk about what's going on in your world and how you're planning on closing out 2020 strong, like your number one strategy?
I'll go.
Oh, Denise just volunteered. Oh, Ryan volunteered. Perfect.
Ryan actually volunteered.
Yes, you did volunteer. I was calling out Denise because you guys were all like, "Who's going to
No,
go?"
yeah. We are just focused on talent acquisition. It's been a focus of ours since April, probably once we realized that this was going to be a real thing. We've hired 25 people in 5 months, and there's no end to that process because not only are we looking to expand and grow from people that may want to join what we're trying to do here, but each one of our originators, each one of our teams are really not even accelerating at the level they could. That the foot's not all the way down on the gas, which I'm sure is true for most people. So we're trying to find, recruit, hire, and train talented people to take on support roles, operations roles, and really up level and get back to what we feel is a really high level consumer experience. If I said that we were operating at an A level for the last 5 months, I'd be lying. We're keeping our nose above water as much as we can, and now we're just kind of starting to get back into our full stride, and we feel like we can really have an amazing 2021 if we find the right people, hire them, embed them into our culture, and get them all prepared for what we think is going to be an even better 2021.
Oh, I love your transparency on that. I think I got to imagine that your service level is still way higher than most, but love the fact that it can be better.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing as far as finding the talent and then training them? Because those seem to be the two most difficult things people are having with COVID right now.
We've had a lot of success in knowing people who know people, right? So we've challenged all of our team members to go back and who they used to work with, who they know, who's in their network, who their social network is. And we've just done a lot of, this processor, we'll call an old processor they used to work with that they knew. And we'll just talk about the difference between our vision and their current vision. Most mortgage companies, teams, they don't really have much of a vision other than we need to do a lot of loans right now. And when we could really have the ability to show someone a different 10-year future, that's when we start to get them interested in what we're doing, because everyone's doing a lot of loans, making a lot of money, processing a lot of loans, underwriting a lot of loans. But we've got I think 6 processors and 4 underwriters in the last 60 days that were not unhappy where they were. They just weren't. They didn't have the same vision, or nobody presented them with the vision that we have for the next 10, 15, 20.
Folks, I think Ryan got stuck there.
Sorry, yeah, someone tried to call me. I'm going to turn my Bluetooth off here. That vision is important because when you ask a processor or an underwriter, what happens when rates go from 2.5 to 4 or 4.5? What is your company's plan? What's their strategy? How are they going to not only survive during that time, but actually thrive through that time? Have they talked to you about what your capacity is going to look like as a processor and underwriter as technology changes, and how they're going to kind of work in and around that with you? And the answer is no every time. No one's ever given these people any sort of vision other than please come to work and process and fund a lot of these loans for us. So that differentiation has been key for us to help us find great people. And then we've also have a kind of a new to the industry talent acquisition process where they have a 5-part, interview, disc test, cover letter, resume, online quiz that they take, kind of an aptitude quiz, panel interview. And if they make it through that, then we have a training system where, people have come from biotech, they've come from accounting, they've come from different areas. They're just really talented, really hungry people. And they've been phenomenal. They've really picked up and they've learned fast, and they've shadowed underneath some of our senior leaders with a goal for them to really go out on their own and become their own loan coordinators, processors, and so on.
That's huge. That's huge. All right. Do either of you guys, Dan or Denise, have any questions for Ryan on that? Because that's such a big strategy.
I just think it's super relevant because I think all of us at the beginning of this COVID stuff were thinking, should we hire or should we not? Because you don't want to have to hire and then, lay a bunch of people off. So that's something that's been a top focus for us as well is, and, there's not a big pool of people that know mortgage. And so you do have to get creative and innovative in, assessing skill sets, which just means more training if someone's new to the business and there's not a whole lot of people that have the capacity to train. So I think Ryan is spot on. I think a lot of people that might be listening, we're making a lot of money and, we're writing a lot of loans, but don't forget your support staff, even the closers and funders, and they don't get the paychecks that we get. And so a note to say, thank you. We appreciate you. I couldn't do what I do without you. You've got to pour into those people because we have closers and funders working till like 10 o'clock at night. And again, they're not making the checks that we are. So little thoughtful acts of kindness go a long way. And so to Ryan's point, we are in the same boat. We are hiring and training, and we've done a little bit of change up with our processing system. So our manufacturing process, we've actually removed the upfront processing piece, which has saved us 8.6 days on our total process. So my senior LOAs, I'm just a one-man loan officer team. There's no other originators I just have assistants. But at this point, we've eliminated that upfront LOA and back-end LOA where now they're just trained for direct submitting to underwriting. So they're setting up the 1003, getting all the docs, direct submitting, and it's shaving off 8.6 days, which has helped us shuffle some job responsibilities around. And I think in 2021, it's going to get even more creative for us. So I'm excited about that.
That's huge. So are they then doing the condition part afterwards, or is there a processor who's doing the back half of the processing?
That's what the processor's doing. It just got to a point where we were I'm super anal about submitting clean files in. I mean, I feel like we should know up front if a file is going to go through or not. I don't rely on a processor or an underwriter to tell us that. So the more trained your LOAs are, the more likelihood that you could convert to this kind of model. And so basically my processor role looks very differently today. And that allows us, as far as capacity standpoint, where I can hire more people to help with essentially chasing conditions is easier than finding a mortgage brain that needs to know guidelines and that kind of stuff. So that's the model we're moving to, which has kept my purchase business happy. We're still easily able to accommodate quick closings. It's just our refis. I have a strong stance that it's going to be 60 days, and we set that expectation up front. It's going to be 60 days. It's going to be a lot of hurry up and wait. It's fine. You're already in the home. Your rate's locked. So that expectation is set with the refis, but you got to take care of your purchase business.
So true. So true. How about you, Dan? What are you focused on as your top strategy to close out the year strong?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to hear. Just confirming from Ryan and Denise, we're in the same position. I think my number one focus right now is just taking care of my people. Denise just said it. I mean, we're making more money than we should. Let's just be real. And so it's it's now coming down to, okay, how do I take care of the people that have and are creating a financial situation for us that is unprecedented. And so, it's one, understanding who your big players are. I've thrown 50 plus loans on a team of one processor and two LPs for the last 5 months. And that's a lot of work. And these guys are working their tails off. And yeah, we're taking care of them with bonuses and doing some extra stuff, taking them and their spouses out to dinner. But we got to be creative due to COVID and stuff. And so I'm being real intentional on, my message to them right now is to finish out 2020 healthy, financially healthy, mentally healthy, and physically healthy. And that's really with my processor and my three loan partners that I have. I've had conversations with them, and what can I do to help you right now? I don't need to put 10 more loans on your plate for next month. October is going to be our biggest month ever. And I asked them going in, is this okay if we close 67 loans this month? And they're like, yeah, we pushed 15 over from September. So sure, 67 minus 15 is going to be okay. But I'm not going to do that to them in November, and I'm not going to do that to them in December. And so we're going to finish out healthy. We're going to stay 50 or less. We've already talked about that. We've drawn the line, just like what Denise said. If I have to say, okay, hey, this is going to be a 60 or an 80-day close, so be it. So not being greedy and focus on the health of my team is big. And then like what Ryan said, it's, the superstars tend to rise to the top, and my core three are amazing. And I can go long and I can go strong with them. And so I want to add on to this group with those guys. And so I did the same thing. I went to all three of them. I said, hey, look back over the last 5+ years. Who do you know? And I've had really good conversations. I'm in the process of hiring one more processor right now due to that kind of that strategy. I want 2021. Jeremy Forcier and I were talking about this last week. We want to make this 2020 the new norm moving forward, production wise. So what do we have to do the same, but with less chaos, with less, delays? Ryan hit it right on the head, man. I'm just going to be honest with you. I have signs all over my office that our mission is to provide an exceptional mortgage experience. And there's not a lot of exceptionalness going on right now. I mean, we're closing on time and we're doing our updates, but I know Ryan and Denise, your guys' standards up here with mine, and it's just not there right now. It's the wow isn't there. So how do we do what we're doing now in 2021 with the wow? And that involves hiring a couple more key players.
I think that's huge. I mean, if you could have 2021 look like 2020 without the chaos, that would be incredible. What else do you guys think you would need to do between now and the end of the year in order to have that take place?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one more processor, which the offer letter's out, and I did the same thing that Ryan did. I shared a vision. Hey, I want you to talk to my core three, and ask them. Ask them how it is working with us. It's kind of a family atmosphere. We're a cross-country mortgage is a big company, but what we've got going on in my branch, it's a tight-knit family. I mean, prior to COVID, we shut down on Fridays at 3:00 and we had happy hour. And if people wanted to stay around and kind of work through the happy hour, they could, but there were no expectations. And, we care about each other. And I've told my loan partner one, Jason Hoskins, he's been with me for 5 years. He's 5 years older than me. And he's the main breadwinner in his family. And I told him when I hired him 5 years ago, you stick with me and you help me get to the next level. And that was right when I started to ramp up my business and figure things out. I said, I'll stay in the game long enough for you to retire. And, giving people that kind of vision is big. And then obviously compensating them for their efforts and not being greedy and sharing both with my current team, our vision, where we're going, what we're doing, that it's not going to be like this in 2021. You're going to actually be able to take some vacations, but bringing on a key underwriter. We need an in-house underwriter. So focusing a lot on that. And I need one more processor. And if we do that, that'll allow us to hire 1 or 2 new loan officers and keep up with what we've got going right now.
That is huge. I love it. All right, Ryan, what would be your next add-on? What would be your next strategy that you guys are implementing to make sure that 2020 is closed out strong?
Yeah, what we're really focused on as a group right now is just empowering people to become leaders, right? Or to enhance their leadership as it is today. I have this vision where, I don't know if it's just me or if everybody's like kind of like this, but I don't feel like someone should be in the same role for longer than a few years. Right? I feel like it starts to get monotonous, it starts to get stale, their drive gets a little bit quelled. And so we have a system in our group where it's very clear, like you start here, then you move to this, and you move to this, you move to this, then you kind of continue to move upwards. So you go from production partner 1 to production partner 2 to mortgage advisor team leader, and you continue to grow and scale. Same thing, junior or associate processor, processing team lead, and you kind of continue to move up. And so people typically won't find their leadership on their own unless you shine a light on it and you empower them to say, hey, look, like you can make this jump, like you can do this, you can get to this level, and you provide metrics and timelines and strategy and training to do it. But the only way an organization grows is if everybody in the organization grows, because you can't just keep growing flat, right? You can't just keep having hundreds of loan officers and then they never move up and they never hire and they never grow. Same thing in operations. So if we really want to have a phenomenal 2021 and have that be kind of our launch year into the next 20 years of our business, then we need to hire and create leaders even when they may not see it in themselves. And that is, to me, the most important thing we can do, because if I don't move up and stop doing what I was doing in 2020, nobody can come do the task I was doing, and then we can't keep backfilling into it.
I think that's huge, even if they don't see it in themselves, because I tend to find that folks who are their disc is more towards the SC side, who are operational driven, they don't have these big, huge vision that we as loan officers all seem to have. So I love that you're doing that.
Well, even loan officer, I mean, there's a lot of loan officers that don't have a vision or of leadership, right? They have a vision of doing loans and they would like to do more, but they don't have a real blueprint or pathway of, okay, here's your first hire. And it's okay to hire this person, and you should hire this person, and you're not going to make less money, and I'll show you why. Right? And then your next person, and then your next person, and then this person, and then you get yourself out of the mortgage production process, and you move up into the 5 stages to where you're only focused on leadership and lead generation, and conversion and fulfillment and post-closing are happening by your team. But people need that. They need that blueprint. I mean, they're not going to realize it or believe in themselves enough to do it. And sometimes you need to do it for them. So, we're hiring production partners for our loan officers that are kind of like, am I ready for it? I'm like, yeah, you are. Watch what happens. All right, and then we take stuff off their plate and they can get to the next level. But that has to be something that we as leaders of our organizations focus on to allow other people to have that same vision we have for them.
I love it. I'm so excited that the 3 of you are here. And I think it just tells me why the Modern Mortgage Summit is going to be so great, because I really do feel that especially with your keynotes that the 3 of you are teaching, plus everyone else with what they're going to cover, that loan officers who don't have that vision will hopefully come away from that day with, I can't imagine without a handful of ideas, but at least a few that they can implement immediately. I don't know. That's what makes me most excited. I'll have Robert put in the chat in Zoom and also in Facebook the link, just modernmortgagesummit.com, so we get that in there. Denise, anything else that you're thinking of for adding on between now and the end of the year to finish the year strong?
No, I mean, just that it's been such a crazy year that there is a lot of opportunity for real estate agents who their current lender has dropped the ball. And it's not even necessarily dropped the ball. I mean, I think all of us can admit that our service standards aren't where we want them to be, but there's opportunity in that. Most of us have we're ahead of the game in the sense that we have a sort of CRM that sends updates, that they're at least proactive communication at the lead status, under contract, post-closing. That system is so well engineered that even in my chaos, my agents and partners are still getting consistent communication. They're still getting a closing package. Am I going to every closing? No. With COVID, it's different, but that's still consistently there. And so what I've tried to do is really capitalize on social media and posting about success stories, strategies, ways that I've been able to save deals or help real estate agents. And what that's done is it's opened the conversations now with other agents reaching out to me saying, okay, I'm frustrated with my lender and I want to connect with you. And so if you're new into this, in this loan officer world, and you're a rookie and you're thinking to yourself, I don't have a whole lot of clients to help refi, or I don't have a whole lot of realtors to, this is prime time for you. This is like when the not the starting quarterback, but the plan B quarterback comes in and can really dominate the game because you've been on the bench, but you can shine right now. It's funny because our Dallas Cowboy just got injured, but anyways, that's not a good analogy to use for the Dallas folks. But this really is game time for a lot of people. And so, the refi business we know will eventually go, interest rates will rise. And so I would just say to people listening, now's the time to step up, even though you might not have a whole lot of time in your day, dedicate at least a solid 30 minutes or an hour to putting together some sort of strategy that you can share out, that you can send out as a mass realtor update, visit your builders, because this is the time where, if you're plan B, you can step up and shine and steal some business right now. So don't forget that.
Yeah, I think no doubt about that. I mean, we all know that when refis become big, that people forget their real estate agents, and there's huge opportunity there. Hey, we've got Craig who's watching in Zoom. He's from Canada. He's a loan agent up in Toronto. I don't have a good Toronto accent, but what would you guys say? Do you think the content at the Modern Mortgage Summit will be relevant for him?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's look, the concepts are basic mortgage practice, right? This doesn't have to do with, loan types in the United States versus Canada. So I think that, what I've learned at these types of events, I could probably go to Canada and do just as well as I would here. So I would say that it doesn't matter where you are, the principles and practices that people are going to impart and the how-tos can be utilized anywhere.
Yeah, I would agree. I used to coach a team out of Canada, and the same challenges that they had in working the Canadian market was similar to challenges that loan officers I was coaching here, and have a lot of Canadian friends back from my master's coach days. Any thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, I think Craig, without throwing out a boot or an A, and I don't know if you talk. I'm 45 miles, 50 miles from the Vancouver, BC border. And so we give our friends up north a hard time how you guys talk, but I don't know if that's the same up in Toronto, but absolutely. A business is a business. I would believe in Canada or in the US, and that's all we are. I mean, God, just listening to Ryan talk right now. I mean, geez, he's talking like a businessman. He's building a mortgage business. So absolutely. And I think, whether you're at Ryan's level or want to be at Ryan's level, or maybe you're at my level where I'm a producer and a branch manager. And 5 years ago, I was a loan officer with no team, just by myself. It doesn't matter where you're at in the process. I think what you're going to see from talking to Todd and Dave with the speakers, this is an event unlike any event. And I think Ryan and Denise can both agree, unlike any event we've ever seen in the mortgage space. And so you're going to get nuggets from some of the best. And the great thing about learning from the best of the best is you're going to get their viewpoint on what helped them get to where they're at. I'm going to be talking about purpose and talking about my mindset and some things that really changed what I did on a day-to-day basis as along my journey, but as I built a mortgage practice. And so, Craig, I believe 100% that you will get nuggets. And it's not going to be so deep, relative to rate and how you present maybe your options. I think mortgages up in Canada, if I'm remember right, they're shorter term, right? And so all the more reason to stay in touch with your clients more often, right? So you're going to get a lot out of this, Craig, I promise you.
So it's kind of interesting. Dave and I were talking yesterday about, what the kind of the best practices to see the event and to consume the content. Dave's all about everyone should have an Apple TV and and be broadcasted up on the big screen, not just looking at it on a small screen. Have you guys, I know you guys are both going to have your team members watch. Have you guys given any thought to what advice you're going to give them, or advice you've already given them on how to best prepare and consume the content?
Yeah. Anytime I go to an event, which I go to about two conferences a year, I go in with intention. And every time I go to, so I'm involved in the core training, and there's 2 summits twice a year. And I've gone for the last 4 years. And every time I've gone, I'm in a different place in my life, in my life and in my business. And so I go in, you get the speaker agenda. So I go in with intention, and I would encourage anyone listening to this to do the same. Like, before you come to the Modern Mortgage Summit, figure out, it's the end of the year. Look back on the year. Hey, what worked really good for you? And what are a few things that you want to improve upon? Like you just asked us, what are we doing? What's our focus this year to repeat and grow next year? I would look at that. And then if it involves growing a team, if it involves leadership, if it involves prospecting, if it involves communication or loan presentation or marketing, go in, and whatever that involves, pay close attention to that particular presenter. If you go in and just try to absorb everything, you're going to walk away going, oh my God, that was the most amazing thing ever. And then you're not going to implement anything. So go in with intention. That's my best strategy. It's worked for me. And I think you'll come out with a lot of value. And then you can always go back, or 6 months from now, you'll be in a different place in your business and in your life. And you can go to another conference, or you can go back and learn from the material that's shared.
I think that's really key, right? People have access for 30 days afterwards to rewatch it. And I think, you're not going to be able to implement 7 strategies at once. So I know that there's going to be so many things that you're going to come out of any event like that and want to put into place. And it's just going to be the whole idea of one at a time and kind of stepping through it. And I know in your region, Ryan, I've been working with your team. I think you guys have, over a dozen folks that are going to be in attendance. So I know they're going to come out all riled up and ready with ideas too.
Yeah, I think the important part of any conference that kind of Dan had talked about is knowing where you are and what the appropriate next step is for your business and for your life. If you don't know, it's like being on a map, right? If you want to go to Kansas, great, you can figure out where Kansas is, but if you don't know where you are, it's going to be hard to get there, right? And so really establishing, all right, here's where I am in my business. The next logical step for me is X, right? In my life and my business. It may be hiring a key team member. It may be a marketing initiative. It may be lead generation. It may be increasing conversion methods. It could be post-closing and database management, right? But you should have, and if you don't, this is where you can find a lot of great mentors that can help you figure out, here's the logical next step for where you are, where you need to go, and just focus on that. I think, look, there's going to be probably more great ideas and information in this one day than anybody could even handle, right? So it will be information overload, and it will be overwhelming to the point to where you think, God, I'm only here, right? And I need to get 8 levels up to get to a level 10, right? That could be overwhelming, right? I mean, knowing how many steps it takes to walk around the world would make it so you don't want to start, right? So just know, here's where I am. Here's my logical next step. I want to listen to this person, this person, this person, because that's going to help me accomplish that. And then just go do that. Don't worry about step 5 and 6 if you're only on step 3.
I think that's so key. And I just, I love where this conversation has gone. I think anytime you get some producers like you all on the webinar together, it's always going to be interesting to see which direction it goes. In case you guys are wondering, Denise's power went out, so she's trying to get in on her cell phone. So hopefully we will see her back here shortly. But I know we got enough firepower with Ryan and Dan to get us through the call. If she
lead quarterback goes out, the whole town goes under.
I'm an Eagles fan, so I can't make any comments because I actually like Dak. I think he's a great human, so it's always disappointing to see that. But that was rough. That was rough, especially. I know that Dan's a big baseball guy, obviously, based on what you can see behind him in the room. And I don't know, Ryan, what your sports are, but it's always such a fun time of year when you see all the championships that are going on right now in baseball and then in basketball, and we've had hockey to make those analogies to how we're all finishing out this year strong. So I guess was sort of my thought as we were heading into this call. So we talked about strategy. We talked about preparation. And I love the fact that you guys are talking to the people who may not be at the level that you guys are at, that are getting there. Any other suggestions that you guys are giving to your coaching students or to your team members right now who are struggling with coming up with that vision? Where would you guys tell them to start?
Yeah, we have a process that I admittedly started a little bit too late in the year in 2019. We call it the 8 equities of life. And the goal for everyone is to, there's 8 different equities from, spirituality and mindfulness to, physical fitness, relationships, finance, business, 8 different areas. And everyone is supposed to write out 3 things they want to accomplish in each one of the areas over 5 years, and then kind of a 1-year goal or benchmark that they want to try and hit as they try and accomplish the 5-year goal. We're starting that now. Last year, I think we started it like mid-December, and I wanted everybody to have it done by beginning of the year. And I just think it's, when the new year starts, for some reason, it's just this mental shift that we all have, like we get to reinvent ourselves. But if we can reinvent ourselves for the next 3 months, then 2021 should be much easier than trying to go out of the gates for the first 3 months. So we're going through that exercise right now as a team, and each person reports to their team leader, whoever they report to, and they go through those things. And it's great exercise for us because it forces people to be intentional with their goals, with their concerns, with their fears. And I think that's, it's important for us all to do. It's just when you make it an accountability project and somebody else knows it, it just helps a little bit more.
And you guys are doing that with loan officers and operations support staff?
Every 100 and some odd employees we have now go through the process.
100 and some odd. Congrats. That's awesome. But I think it's really important. I oftentimes tend to find that loan officers get coaching and operations folks don't. So I think that's just great leadership that you're bringing to them. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
How about you, Dan? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a passion, and that's where I'm at in my career now is helping other people figure out where they want to go and then help them get there. And a big part of figuring out where you want to go is having that vision. And so, again, without giving too much info away from my keynote next week, a big part of what I'm talking about is purpose. Finding that purpose and sometimes it changes. Your purpose changes. But when you have a purpose, you can develop a vision. When you have a vision, you can create goals. When you have goals, you can work towards something every single day. And I think it's just so important with, what I said about 15 minutes ago was that the listeners, the attendees have such an awesome opportunity to listen to a guy like Ryan, who's doing amazing things in his business, and people like Denise and myself that have come so far. I mean, my world has completely changed in just the last 5 years. 5 years ago, I was broke, closing $30 million a year in production, in debt, no vision, no clue, a mess, and I wanted to quit. And just in a short period of time, seeing how life has completely changed for me. I'm a whole new you. I'm a completely different human being. And so I think when you understand, like what Ryan just said, I think you called it the 8 equities of life. I'm talking about the wheel of life, and it happens to have 7, which I bet they're pretty darn close to his. But I have 7 things that I evaluate every year. But the thing that's made a big difference in my business is I don't just evaluate them and pick 2 or 3 things I want to improve upon and then work my tail off on those. I'm looking at these things daily. So that wheel of life is there in front of me and I review it. And this is something I got from Jeremy Forcier a few years ago. And just in talking, I'm like, how do you stay so focused on hiring 3 new loan officers or whatever his goals were, right? And he was like, it's in front of me. It's in front of me every single day. I don't write a business plan once a year. I create this plan. I have this vision and then I create this plan and it's in front of me and I review it. And so I think that's key. And that's something that I'm going to talk a little about. And I think that's big moving forward is that you set this, you have a vision, and you create these goals. It's the new year and everyone gets excited about doing that. That's great. But I don't think you can honestly look yourself in the mirror every single day and try to achieve goals if you don't have a vision for your life, like Ryan said, for your health, for your wealth, for your work, for your relationship, for your spirituality, stuff like that. So I think we're both on the same page relative to the wheel of life and the 8 equities of life.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like it's just so much more than business. And I found that seems like folks who have a coach like you guys have had know that it's just more than just business, that you have to have, the life piece in place. I should throw in there, Dave and I will have on this Friday for the Friday Mastermind, Daniel Harkavy. So speaking about someone who's written books on life planning with Michael Hyatt, and he'll be talking about his new book, The 7 Perspectives of a Leader, which I've heard him give that talk now over the years. And it'll be dynamite. So those of you who are looking to grow personally as well as professionally, to be a great call. It's not just for leaders, but certainly it's for anyone who wants to, grow. He always says self-leadership. Team leadership starts with self-leadership. And so I'm sure that he'll run through that. So definitely join us on Friday. I think that'll be a great conversation, regardless of where you are at in the business. And so I'm super looking forward to it, just because he's one of my great friends and mentors. I love the way that this conversation is headed towards vision, because I think that's really the big part, right? I mean, I think it's great to have a business plan, because that'll, if you have a good business plan, then you can say, okay, what do I have to do today to achieve that? But it's also hard to have a plan if you don't have that vision in place. I love that, just the simplicity of what you said, Jeremy, said, of just having a reminder for that. Because I do feel like people write it and they're like, I did it, check that box, and then stick it in the drawer, and then don't bother to look at it. I know, Ryan, I don't want you to give away your whole keynote talk, but I know you're going to be talking about creating clients for life. So I got to imagine you'll be weaving in a little bit of what you're doing with Art of Home Ownership and what you've done to attract Facebook as a client.
Yeah, that'll be, I think, one of the how-tos. My keynote is more on scale, like how to go from nothing to helping a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that we all need to focus on is just stop selling loans, right? Mm-hmm. We can't be doing this if if what the industry is doing today is any indication of the future of the industry. Quicken's going to be the only game in town. And they actually should be the only game in town, right? But we all need to figure out how to be more valuable to our clients, not only during the transaction, right? And value is not customer service. People conflate those two all the time. Value is actually proactively changing that person's life, helping them grow their generational wealth, planning for future real estate goals, giving them really great tools and services for 30 years, right? So they become dependent upon you in every aspect of real estate and finance. And that'll be one of the how-tos that I'm going to be talking about.
Love it. I did think it was interesting too, Dan, one of the things that you said, and I don't know if this is your story, Ryan, as well, but I was there as well as a loan officer. There's so many loan officers who were flat broke, were thinking about quitting the business. I mean, even at $30 million a year, I mean, that's awesome production. And we're close to quitting, but then obviously having that drive and that vision, finding that purpose, kept you going. Do you guys find that when you're out there talking to people, that a lot of the superstars have been in that same position where they were just on the edge and then just kept pushing, had that fortitude, and kept going?
100%. I mean, I don't know anybody who started at 100 million. So if let me know, and I would love to find out how they did it. We all got beat up for a long time, right? And we had our challenges and trials and tribulations. And, again, I don't want to give away my keynote, but I was one phone call away from leaving the industry in 2010. And I was going to go back to law school. I was going to go get my MBA, go to business school. And fortunately, that conversation kept me in it. But there's no shortcut to it, right? You have to take your bumps and bruises. You have to figure it out along the way. I mean, the cool thing about this event is it is kind of a shortcut, right? Like coming to this Modern Mortgage Summit for someone who's doing $10 million a year, which is not a bad number. I wish I would have known about something like this. For the first 4 years of my career, I had no idea that coaching or training or mentorship was a thing. I just kind of had my head down. Being, you and Dave putting on something like this for everybody is so incredibly helpful. And I think that, no matter where you are in your business, don't ever think that it's not possible, and don't ever think that you can't learn a lot more. Both of those things would serve you well.
Yeah.
Well, we're grateful for all of you guys for coming alongside of us and providing the the expertise and the content. I think it's one thing if we have a great idea and come up with it, but that's nothing unless we have all of you guys jump in and, give 110%. We're super grateful for that.
I'm sure Dan would agree. We wouldn't be where we are if people didn't pour into us. So just give them back.
Yeah.
I do think that's one of the keys of this industry compared to others. When I first got in it seemed like there was a lot of scarcity. People didn't really want to share. And then, I think once became part of these groups where, we all spend time with each other and share transparently what we've got going. It's interesting. Josh Metal, who will be one of the guests, who I know you guys both know well. Josh, sat on stage at an event one year when someone said, well, why are you willing to share all your ideas? And he said, well, I'm willing to share them because I know people aren't going to execute on them. And, I think it's sad, but true. And, my encouragement for all of you guys who are watching, whether it's just watching a video here in the Mortgage Coach channel or being part of this group, the Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind, or attending the event, that's what you got to think about is, do you want to be one of those people that Josh says, well, I can share with you because you're not going to execute, or do you actually want to do it? Because I do know, at least for me personally, I've fallen into that, lack of execution in the past. And so that's why, I love the fact that we're going to break it down into small bite-sized steps for people to really get out there and execute. So we've got 15 more minutes. The crowd is kind of quiet. I can't see in the Facebook group because I don't have access to the technology to see if there's any questions in there. So if you guys have any questions that you would love Dan or Ryan to answer, knock it out. But if you guys had one more thing that you would add sort of to take us through the next 15 minutes, what other areas are kind of on your mind that you think will be worthwhile to discuss?
Well, to your point, Todd, I mean, not a lot of people will execute, yes, but I think the reason why I'm really passionate about being a part of these things is because I really do want to see our industry change. And I know if I help anyone adopt more of the, advisor and value-based professional role as opposed to the rate and term and cost role, that we have a chance. And it's, there's not a lot of us that want to do that, right? There's a lot of people who want to sell a lot of loans and make a lot of money. And, they need the best interest rate and they need, the cheapest this and the cheapest that, but they're going to struggle, right? It's the difference between a job and a career. And so if we can really help people to change the way the consumer looks at a mortgage professional, a true mortgage professional, and change the way a mortgage professional actually thinks of their own value to the consumer, well, then we need to do that, right? The alternative is we don't have an option. Right. So as really high-minded, value-based mortgage professionals, we should really all be banding together, right, to accomplish this overthrow of don't worry about it, it's fine, click this button, get your mortgage, make sure it's cheap, don't ask a lot of questions, good luck with the rest of your life type mentality.
Yeah, I love it. Evan just commented that I love the answer to your question of why you share your expertise, because the industry could use a facelift as a whole, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, we need
I
to.
always think
it's a fight.
Awesome.
We're fighting not against each other for any mortgage professional here. We're fighting against the technological movement to where the Super Bowl commercial is trying to tell you why getting advice and education and a plan and strategy for your life is actually a bad idea, right? Just click this button. It's actually easier. Like, are you kidding me? But they have more money than we do. We just need to be louder with our message.
Yeah, I think that's true. What would you add to that, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to the reason why I'm willing to share, why I'm an open book is a coach asked me, because we were doing some vision planning, and this is something I'm not like a big emotional guy. So I'm like, this is boring stuff, man. Let's just get to how can I close more loans? How can I grow my team? How can I hire? Teach me how to close better. But we were doing some vision planning the other day, and he said, why do you do what you do? And, I said, oh, because I like it. I like to win. I like to have fun. He goes, okay, let's talk more about that. And this conversation went so deep, you guys, and it was crazy. But I go back to being a college athlete and not making it to the big leagues, but loving baseball so much that I was going to do whatever it took to get to the big leagues as a coach, as a trainer. And so I go to college, and I'm not that smart, and I get a master's degree in sports medicine so that I can go and be a strength and conditioning coach or a coach at the college level and then do really well and then get picked up by a big league team. And so from just that day, from that experience as a college athlete, failed college athlete, pro athlete, to working toward that, to then becoming a strength and conditioning coach and personal trainer to help people achieve their dreams. Okay. And then I do that for 5 or 10 years, and then I move on and I teach. And then I get into the mortgage industry, and it's always been a competition to me. And when you compete, the idea of competing is winning. And so at the end of this whole vision planning conversation I had is, I really enjoy helping people win. I have the formula. Like, I've been taught from all guys like you, from coaches, from experience, there's a formula for winning. It's not that hard. You're going to lose. What do you do when you lose? Well, you learn from it and you get better. Most people lose and they get down, and they get depressed, and it's a setback. And then it takes them a year to figure that out versus figuring it out much quicker. And so I just think I'm so willing to share anything and everything that I do because of the experiences that I've gone through and the feeling that I have in my heart, the feeling that I have right now in my soul. 5 years ago, I wasn't winning. I was down and out. And Ryan mentioned that he was one phone call away. Ryan, I made that call, dude. Like, I was out. Like, I was done. I was going back to being a college professor and a college baseball coach, making $100,000 a year. That was it. That's how bad I was beat up. And, you know, one guy, he said, "Hey, come work for me and I'll fix things for you." And we all know him. That was Tony Blodgett. You know, he was that rescue raft that came and helped show me a better way. And so, you know, I think when it comes to all of this stuff, what we're talking about with sharing our information and sharing our how-tos, we want to help other people succeed. I think I'm right where Ryan's at. At this point in my career, I believe that our industry has to do a better job, or we're going to be call center clowns. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all we're going to be, picking up the phone, quote and rate. And the 8 equities of life that Ryan talked about, a lot of the things I take every single one of my clients through the 6 steps to financial freedom. That stuff's powerful. You sit down with a first-time home buyer and you show them stuff and you talk to them about a better way of life. 5 years ago, I had no money in savings. Okay, so where did I start? I started with $1. I started with paying off debt. Here's how I paid off $87,000 in debt. I did it. I can show you how to do it. And by the way, I wasn't making a lot of money back then. I was making nothing. I was 100% commission. So I can show you what I had to go through. I had bad credit. How did I fix my credit? This is what I did. I didn't have a 401k. I started contributing to my 401k. So being able to sit down with a 28, 29-year-old family and show them a roadmap. I know who Ryan's talking about, the online lenders. They're not doing that. They're quoting 5 points or 3 points to get the lowest rate. They're attracting them. They're like, "Oh my God, I got the best rate." We have $23,000 in closing costs. I can show you a better option with $7,000 in closing costs and a plan. And I agree 100%. That's why I want to give back. That's why I love anytime you and Dave call me, I'm like, "Yep, bring me on. I'm happy to share."
Well, I think it's huge. And I think it's, I always hear when I talk to you guys have just a heart for others as well, a heart for, giving back and being your best. And, it's funny, I've taken more notes today than I've taken in a call in quite a while. And I want you guys all to listen to how Dan and Ryan are talking about, right? They've got processes that they're walking clients through. They've got processes they're walking team members through. And they're all things that you all can create and replicate and do. Denise used the word earlier, opportunity. I feel like 2020, the opportunity hasn't been wrung out of 2020 yet. Like, there's so much more we can do between now and the end of the year. And I think that 2021 is going to be just, ridiculous. But I still think it comes back to this whole idea of, what should people be focused on now? We talked earlier about the clients who don't have, databases and feel like they've done all their refinances, reaching out to real estate agents. Would you guys have any advice to someone on what they can be doing now to go after relationships if they don't have them, for those who are like, "Yeah, it's easy for you guys with 5 years of database or more"?
No, I'll share what I'm doing right now. Right now is the best time to be calling realtors. And I know we don't have time. And so I don't know if it was Ryan or Denise, 30 minutes. So I'm supposed to call Monday is my realtor day. And I'm just going to be honest. I'm not calling a group of realtors on Monday. So I'm being more intentional. I got 30 minutes. I got 45 minutes. Here's my list. And I'm going to call. And what I'm doing right now is I'm asking every real estate agent that I'm working with right now, what are you hearing from other agents? And they're like, it's brutal out there. And then we were like, we can't believe you're closing loans on time for us. And you're amazing. And we're introducing you to other people. I appreciate that. So I'm taking that and I'm taking it to the next level. I'm getting a roster from their offices. And I'm just saying, hey, I'm working with, so-and-so realtor in your office. I had a conversation with her the other day, and she mentioned that some agents were complaining about loan officers not calling back. I want to call you. I want to give you my cell number, and I want you to call me anytime on the weekend. If you ever need a loan officer, I'm here for you. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, hey, do you want to do a Zoom meeting? Do you want to do coffee? Do you want to? I want to give you my cell number. And in fact, when we hang up, I'm going to text you my information so you have it. You ever get in a bind, I want you to call me. I've had 3 agents call me over the weekends because of that now. And I just started doing that 2 weeks ago. So loan officers, if you're listening to this and you don't have 50 people to refinance, just start calling real estate agent offices rosters. Let them know your name and that you're available and you're here to help them. And you've got a great team and a great company to support you. It's that simple. So that's my piece of advice there. From a home buyer standpoint, right what Ryan and I are saying, it's education's key right now. We've got an election coming up. Everyone has questions. Where are rates going? What's going on? This is a time to stand out. Are you locking people in on 45, 60-day rate locks? Or are you giving them some advice? So this is an opportune time right now. And I'm excited to be in this space.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. What would you add to that, Ryan?
We want to, not to beat a dead horse, but we want to help agents have a different value proposition than they do today. So, when you see that Zillow is hiring, licensed, salaried agents on their roster to really start to just monopolize that space, we need to give the people that we care about, the partners that we care about, and the partners that, are really have the right mindset around the business, you need to give them a better bag of weapons. And so we're using the Art of Homeownership platform to show them, hey, you can now offer all of your clients all 7 of these services. You can acquire and adopt new clients before they even decide to buy a home. You can help them renovate their property before selling it at no cost. We give them all the things that no other realtor is saying, to say, look, every other, there's 1.4 million licensed National Association of Realtors in the country. All of them would love to help you buy or sell a home, right? And then you're going to get some just sold, just listed cards, pie on Thanksgiving, and whatever else is top of mind. But me and my team of agents are going to help you with this and that, and home concierge and annual financial reviews, monthly analytics, really planning for a better real estate and financial future. Because our clients don't come to us for transitions or transactions, they come to us for growth. Right? We commit to helping you and your family grow your generational wealth in a multitude of ways, and here's how we do it. So our agents are just winning more, right? They're winning more listing presentations. They're acquiring more buyers. They're adopting people, by the hundreds. They're connecting with companies and corporations. They have a list of CPAs and financial planners that they didn't have previously. So we're just pouring into their business and saying, look, it's going to get challenging over the next 5 years. We have a way to not only survive through that, but really thrive into it. And they get really excited about the opportunity.
I just love it. I feel like you guys are giving out the textbook of great ideas for people who are struggling with what to do, right now. And I know with only 5 minutes left, for us to dig in on something else, big is going to be tough. So, I'm not one for big sales pitches. In fact, I get criticized oftentimes because I don't really talk about what I do and talk about it. But what would be your encouragement? Let's just give a quick sales pitch for someone who's on the edge of signing up for the Modern Mortgage Summit. What would you tell them, Dan, just to get them off the fence for the $100 investment?
Well, I'm going to tell you that I've been in your position. Like I share with all of my clients. I was upside down. I had a bunch of debt. I had no money in savings. I didn't believe in the stock market. And so I've been there. And I'm where I'm at today because of guys like Ryan and gals like Denise, and look at all the speakers. Personally, Jeremy Forcier, I work with him. He's a mentor of mine. That's why I'm at Cross Country Mortgage, and so it's $100 investment. I can tell you, I've spent a lot more. I spent a lot more for a lot less info and a lot less value, and so I can tell you from a speaker standpoint, I spent 9 hours yesterday prepping and recording and last week putting together an 18-minute talk for you guys. I can tell you that in 18 minutes, there's 100 in my talk. And I know Ryan's is going to be even greater. In 18 minutes of my talk, there will be $100 in value. I promise you. So, I mean, that's really all I can say. You guys I think you show your value every day and every week, Todd, when you guys come on here.
Well, I appreciate that. And, as I said, before I knew you spent all that many hours, I knew you guys were all prepping. I knew you guys were, like I said, giving 110%, but my level of gratitude just went up even higher. I'm sure you're going to say kind of something similar, Ryan. What would you add?
Yeah, look, if you're on the fence, it could be a time thing, right? I would assume it's not probably a monetary thing. It's probably a time thing where you just, I have too much on my plate, right? They're going to let you watch for 30 days, right? So you can spend a Saturday, spend a Sunday, break it up into a 2-day thing. There's always times when you need to work on your business. And we know right now it's challenging because of everything going on. But if you're on the fence and you're wondering if you should make the investment or not, I'll pay for the first 10 people that email me. You can just email me at ryan@ryangrantteam.com. Write me an email as to why you think you're uncertain of it. And, I'll sponsor the first 10 people to email.
Dude, that's huge. That is huge. All right. Well, we got, I don't know, we got $100 for the value out of this call today, I hope. And it was free. So I just want to say thanks, Dan Keller and Ryan Grant and Denise Donoghue, who lost her power, for you guys jumping in and adding value like you always do to the mortgage coach community. And just can't wait to less than 1 week away from today to see the content at the Modern Mortgage Summit. So on behalf of myself and my team at Win by Noon and Dave and the team over at Mortgage Coach, this call is a wrap. We will see you guys next week. And don't forget Friday with Daniel Harkeby. That's going to be a great call as well. Thanks, guys. So appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. See you, Dan.
Hey, see you later, Ryan.